Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier, and thank you for stopping by. I took this photograph at 6:48 a.m. from my office on the 8th floor of the morning over Nairobi. And I said good morning from the 8th floor. This is Nairobi, Kenya, Africa. Home thoughts return to J.D. Salinger, the catcher in the rye. Life is a game, boy. Life is a game that one plays according to the rule. Yes, sir, I know it is, I know it. Game, my ass, some game. If you get on the side where all the hot shots are, then it's a game, all right. I'll admit that. But if you get on the other side where there aren't any hot shots, then what's a game about it? Nothing, no game. I like this tweet from Soul Seeds. Flock with others who are truly, madly, and deeply in love with life. Charles Oboe tweeted, I wish I could fly out in the blue over this town, which is a song by Roxette. AFP correspondent published this photograph, the message alongside, working around photo restrictions at the White House by placing remote cameras. Daily Beast has a very interesting piece, Obama drafted to fight Bush's war. The writer says, I've been looking back over a few predictions about the Iraq war from back in 2002 and 2003. Recall Dick Cheney, weeks rather than months. We will be greeted as liberators, said Paul Wolfowitz. There's a lot of money to pay for this. It doesn't have to be US taxpayer money. We are dealing with a country that can really finance its own reconstruction relatively soon. It is hard to conceive that it would take more forces to provide stability in post-Saddam Iraq than it would take to conduct the war itself and to secure the surrender of Saddam's security forces and his army. Hard to imagine. Now listen to this. Possibly the most dire consequences would be the effect in the region. The shared view in the region is that Iraq is principally an obsession of the US. The obsession of the region, however, is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. There would be an explosion of outrage against us. We would be seen as ignoring a key interest of the Muslim world in order to satisfy what is seen to be a narrow American interest. Second paragraph. While we hope that popular revolt or coup would topple Saddam, neither the US nor the countries of the region wished to see the breakup of the Iraqi state. We were concerned about the long-term balance of power at the head of the Gulf, trying to eliminate Saddam, extending the ground war into an occupation of Iraq would have violated our guidelines about not changing objectives in midstream, engaging in mission creep, and would have incurred incalculable human and political costs. Now, and the writer then asks rhetorically, pretty good that first one, holds up, doesn't it? Noam Chomsky, a Nation editorial? No. Brent Snowcroft, writing in the Wall Street Journal. I think Iraq became a blind spot and an obsession in the Bush II administration. In fact, what has come after Saddam and after Muammar has been demonstrably worse. Put up a photograph of Saddam Hussein in his younger days, and then a transcript I found on Global Research of his last words, "To the hell that is Iraq!" exclamation mark, question mark. The execution fell during Eid ul-Adha, a holy day for Muslims. The date of the execution is perhaps one of the most compromising signals that the execution was indeed a psychological operation. Background voices, which are very hard to hear, are having a conversation, and someone calls someone else in the execution chamber by Ali, or is looking for Ali. Saddam Hussein, I testify that Muhammad is the messenger of God. Saddam Hussein, O God, saying this in preparation. as is Middle Eastern custom, as the noose is put around his neck. One voice leads customary Muslim prayer, calling a salawat, may God's blessings be upon Muhammad and his companions, household and family. All voices, including Saddam Hussein, repeat the customary prayer, may God's blessings be upon Muhammad and his companions, household, family. A group of voices, Muqtada, 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 meaning the young Shiite cleric Muqtada al-Sadr. Saddam with amusement, Muqtada, Muqtada, do you consider this bravery? This can only be translated as meaning, is this your manhood? Several individuals say several times, to hell, hellfire, go to hell. Saddam Hussein mockingly replies and asks, to the hell that is Iraq. Other voices, long live Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr. Single voice, please, do not. The man is being executed. Please, no, please stop. Saddam Hussein starts the recitation of the final Muslim prayers. I bear witness that there is no God but God. Several voices, the tyrant dictator has collapsed. Let him hang for 8 minutes. Many conversations continue in the background about Saddam Hussein. I'll put up a photograph of him grabbed from YouTube. Bahrain marked the 4th anniversary of uprisings with tear gas and birdshot. And really, I think that is a pressure cooker that's going to blow one day. Defense Minister Ursula von der Leyen said Germany must adjust its response to Russia's hybrid conduct of war in the Ukraine. It's this unconventional orchestration of multifaceted elements of a hybrid conduct of war that's fundamentally changing the security architecture of the continent, and for which we have to consider our response. I couldn't resist this. Italy fears ISIS invasion from Libya. Last weekend in Italy, as the threat of ISIS in Libya hit home with a new video addressed to the nation signed with the blood of the cross and the warning, we are south of Rome. Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi shuttered up the Italian embassy in Tripoli and raised his fist with the threat of impending military action. In fact, Renzi didn't specify exactly who would wield that military might, and 2 days later, when no one volunteered to lead the charge, he backtracked. It's not the time for a military intervention. Our proposal is to wait for the UN Security Council. The strength of the UN is decidedly superior to that of the radical militias, he said. Whether the time is right or not, there is no question that there is a palpable tension in Italy over the ISIS threat. Libya is just 109 miles away from the island of Lampedusa and 300 miles from Sicily, made worse by a 64% increase in illegal migrant arrivals by sea last year. Going on further, Italy has been on ISIS's radar for quite some time. In October, the group dedicated the cover of its Dabiq magazine to a story called Reflections on the Final Crusade, about how they will conquer Rome, complete with a photo of a black jihadist flag flying over St. Peter's Square. We will conquer your Rome, break your crosses, and enslave your women by the permission of Allah, the Exalted. If we do not reach that time, then our children and grandchildren will reach it, and they will sell your sons as slaves at the slave market, said the article in Dabiq. I'll put up a link to Matteo Renzi's Twitter account. On that note, on the fact that this was Rome, I jumped to Marcello Mastroianni and Anita Ekberg and their famous Trevi fountain scene in La Dolce Vita, which remains one of my favourite films of all time. I'll also put up a photograph of a flock of starlings over Rome at sunset. President Putin told Kiev to let its soldiers surrender to pro-Russian rebels who spurned a ceasefire in eastern Ukraine and fought their way on Tuesday into the town of Debaltseve, encircling thousands of government troops. I hope that the responsible figures in the Ukrainian leadership will not hinder soldiers in the Ukrainian army from putting down their weapons. Putin said, if they aren't capable of taking that decision themselves and giving that order, then I hope that they won't prosecute people who want to save their lives and the lives of others. It's a put up or shut up moment. And as I previously said, he remains under phenomenal pressure at home on the economic front. Barack Obama has proven a very adept, sophisticated user of 21st century oil warfare, but on the ground, he's grinding the Ukraine, the Kiev military under his boot. I couldn't resist this photograph and the accompanying headline, the computer simulation that almost started World War III. Jamie at Reuters, who I follow, dictionary definition of correlation, Japanese stocks and dollar yen. He's not wrong. Euro was last trading at 113.81. Big squeeze high yesterday to the top of the range, 114.50 area. Dollar index 94.11. Japanese yen 119.11. Swissy 0.9356. Pound 153.46. Aussie 0.7823. India rupee 62.235. South Korean won 11.1152. Real 282.98. Egyptian pound 763.46. And the rand 11.673. I'll put up a 3-month chart of the dollar index. We've been treading water for a while, but I think the new rally resumes imminently. Yellen might prove a trigger today, because I think she's going to be considerably more hawkish and dismissive of international conditions. And I remain of the view, as I was on the 29th of September, there's a small window for shocks as the dollar rises. I think the US economy is the comeback kid of 2015, and the dollar will prove to be king dollar this year. Euro dollar, I'll put up a 3-month chart that's been all over the shop. Got as high as 114.50 yesterday, but I think ultimately going to parity. Nanex, who tweets lots of very arresting images, tweeted Euro-dollar futures multiple expiration months during the October 15th Treasury flash crash. Samsung Electronics aims to use its $56 billion cash pile to fund growth, including acquisitions, the investor relations chief said. Gold, when I checked last, was at 12.08. I think the top is in for the year. Bloomberg View has an article, get ready for $10 oil, saying at about $50 a barrel, crude oil prices are down more than half from their June 14 peak of 107. They may fall more, perhaps even as low as $10 a barrel. Saying, what is the price at which major producers chicken out and slash output? Whatever the price is, it is much lower than $125 a barrel Venezuela needs. The same goes for Ecuador, Algeria, Nigeria, Iraq, Iran, and Angola. And these are all collateral damage in that red-hot oil war that's being waged on Vladimir Putin crude oil. I'll also put up a 5-day chart, got squeezed higher on the Libyan news, but I think that is probably an opportunity to sell. Coming to sub-Saharan Africa, Sudan's president claims the CIA and Mossad are behind ISIS and Boko Haram. He spoke after ISIS released a video purporting to show the beheading of 21 Coptic Christians in Libya. Told the broadcast, I said CIA and Mossad stand behind these organizations. There is no Muslim who would carry out such acts. I'll put up a link for some amazing maps showing the true diversity of Africa. According to the Wall Street Journal, Africa is losing $60 billion a year illegally. That's very believable. Scams range from loggers in Mozambique, understating the value of the timber to Nigerian officials who send abroad suitcases of illegally earned cash. The Sunday Times in South Africa tweeted President Zuma laughed while parliamentary democracy unraveled and posted this picture. Have a look at it. South African all-share edged 0.31% off an all-time high, but of weakness in mining shares remains up 6.24% year-to-date in what has been a blistering start to the year. Dollar rand 11.673, Egyptian pound 763.46. Egyptian stock market has come off the boil a little, but remains up 5.72% year-to-date. Abu Bakr Shekau in Nigeria, the leader of the Boko Haram, said in a YouTube release, "This election will not be held even if we are dead. Even if we are not alive, Allah will never allow you to do it," Shekau said. Very interesting video on Bloomberg, a little bit extreme, but it says Nigeria could be the first petro-state to fall. Have a look at that link. On the 10th of November, I said, turning to the markets in Africa, the Nigerian naira and the oil share have been wagadugued by the collapse in the price of oil. 19th of November, I put a 200 price target out for the naira. We crossed that last week. We learned that Nigeria spent $380 million in 2 days trying to defend the naira as reserves shed 1.2%. They simply don't have the firepower. The Nigerian oil share, interestingly, bounced yesterday at 2.61%. It's down 17.9% year to date. Ghana down 4.86%. Angola appointed 2 new central bank deputy governors, but the Kwanza has hit all-time lows on nearly a daily basis this year and was trading at 104.65 against the dollar. Kwacha fell 4% on Tuesday, a big drop, to an 8-month low. I did that interview with Charles Ireland, and in it there's a 90-second bit about the oil price fall and the potential stimulative effect. Do have a look, it's just 90 seconds. And it goes to the point that Katrina wrote about falling oil price adds spurts to Kenyan grassroots, where I said I think the oil price drop is going to be a massive stimulus to the grassroots. The economy outperforms and the average Joe is earning not very much, has more in his pocket. So I think it's a classic case. If you haven't seen the full interview with Charles, do take a look at that. EABL up 909% year to date at a 2015 high. Nairobi oil shares closed at a record for the last 7 sessions. It's up 6.15% year to date. Nairobi NSE 20 up 5.69% year to date. Crossed 5,400 for the first time since the 22nd of September last year. Kakuzi has rallied a blistering 61.666% year to date. Crown Paints also at an all-time high, up 48.64% year to date. If you didn't see that interview I did with Bonnie about Kenyan markets, do have a look at that. Kenya Power reported first half profit before tax surged 52.9355%. Total revenue up 19.1968%. Earnings per share up 38.96%. Dividend unchanged. Increase in profit mainly attributed to increased sales and tariff review. Electricity revenue grew 40%. We are confident the company's good performance will be sustained. To secure revenue, we are planning to introduce smart metering systems to enhance billing accuracy for large power customers as well as reduce overall costs. Strong results helped by a tariff increase which raised the base unit price in favour of KPLC a while back. That was a 77% basic tariff increase. The NSE has been on a red-hot winning streak. KPLC trading about 7% higher after those results. Nairobi oil share has been on a red-hot winning streak, close to a record high for the 7th consecutive session Tuesday. Intensely destabilized markets in Nigeria. Naira 12-month forwards pricing the Naira at around 275 to the dollar. That's huge. It's tanked big time. And I think lots of funds which were destined for Lagos have been rerouted to Johannesburg, Nairobi and Egypt. All shares up 6.145% year to date. And as I said, the NSE 20 crossed 5,400 for the first time since the 22nd of November. It's the 22nd of September. And in my view, this is a bull market, plain and simple. Thank you.